All right, hello everyone. We are talking today on live on YouTube. So welcome everyone on YouTube who is watching today. But I am also live on our private Facebook page called the Blue Light Movement. So once I'm finished with this live talk, I will post for those on YouTube who wish to join that private page, the Blue Light Movement page. You'll be able to be updated on everything that we have been doing there for the last 3 years as this photonic celestial blue light has been infusing the earth. Hi, my name is Nancy Rebecca. My website, my business, Intuitive Mind, that has been that for the last 25 years. I am a nurse, but I also work as I also have clairvoyant abilities, and my stories on the website, meaning that I can see the physical world and the spiritual world at the same time. So, yeah, let's just kind of jump into it. So, first of all, I am asking you to kind of pause the recording, go get yourself a container of water. So, it could be a glass of water, a cup of water, it could be a bowl of water, whatever you want it to be, and set it next to you so that as we are really talking about the sacredness of water, and we're really focusing that on that together as a group, that water container that you have is going to be really infused with these higher vibrational frequencies. So I hope that you're all finding me okay this morning. So good morning, Phyllis. And again, remember, I am streaming on StreamYard, so I actually cannot see your name when you're typing a comment. It's a privacy thing, which is very appropriate. So if you want to just sign your name afterwards, then I will know who's making the comment. So the first thing that I want to start with is that we're going to be together for about an hour today. And the plan is the first 30 minutes, I'm going to talk about water being a highly intelligent, sacred, altruistic wisdom that is really kind of being enhanced at very concentrated levels right now as we are expanding in our own consciousness. So we're going to talk about water in that way again. I did a blog back in May of 2021. So I will also be posting that link here on the YouTube page so that you can read that first blog. So we had that first blog where the blue beings of light came through, the star beings came through, gave me information about water, and I wrote about that. And then remember, for those of you who've been following this blue light movement for a long, long time, November 19th, 2021 is when we had that big surge that came through the pyramid, the Great Sun Pyramid at Teotihuacan in Mexico, just outside of Mexico City. This third one's going to be happening in the Southwest. And so just to let you know, I'll be talking about this the first 30 minutes. We will be having a meditation, like about 15 minutes. And then I'm going to follow up the final kind of 10 to 15 minutes, kind of talking about, yeah, that next surge that's coming in the Southwest, kind of what has been coming up, the information that's been coming through the blue beings of light. It seems like it's going to be bigger, yet more refined than the first two that we had, but I'll be sharing a little bit more about that last 15 minutes. So hello, Shauna, and good morning to you too. So where's everybody checking in from today? It's a Saturday morning here in the Pacific Northwest. We have a little bit of an overcast day today, but promises to have some sunshine later this afternoon. But I do understand there's places in the world where, excuse me, there are places in the world where they are having enormous, enormous heat waves. So I wish for you to have water come for you wherever you are in the world. And for us here in the Pacific Northwest that are fortunate and blessed to have an abundance amount of water, want to just send out some gratitude for that. So the blue beings of light came through because I wondered, why did they want to talk about water again? Why did they want to talk about water again. And so what they shared with me, which there were many of them, I've been noticing. Remember the first few that came through in 2017? Well, here on the earth, there are thousands and thousands of these blue light star beings that are coming through at this time. So what they were saying is that there are so many high level transmissions that are coming through to the earth at this time to humanity and human consciousness, that water really helps to facilitate those transmissions to be more easily adaptable for you, integrated, and integrated in a very kind of easy, effortless sort of way. So the first thing I want you to do is that container of water. Hopefully everyone has that container of water right now. Just take that container of water. You can place your hands on it. You can look at it. You want to just be thankful and grateful for that water. And as you are doing that, that is going to send that message of gratitude to the creeks and the rivers and the ponds and the lakes and the seas and the huge, huge oceans. So it's just intend that gratitude spread all the way out that way. So in this talk, good morning, Shauna. Hi, Rebecca from Albany, New York. Hello from Thailand. Goodness gracious. Whenever there's very high level information coming through, it's like my fifth chakra is attempting to adapt at its third dimensional level to those much higher levels. So I can tell it's getting really stirred up this morning. So in this talk, first, the blue beings of light asked me to say to you first, to be willing to expand your consciousness, your thought patterns beyond the limitations of your mind, because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to really expand our thought process above and beyond the limitations of your own mind. Because you see, we are part of a humanity grid. We're part of a social grid. We can have one person who can really imprint us with a lot of information, millions of people with a lot of information that millions of people really kind of download and take in as truth, and then can be moved by that truth when actually it's a lie. I've been working as a psychic healer medium for 25 years, and I am telling you, we are all influenced by this, some more than others. And so what we want to be doing in this consciousness of billions of people on the earth is that we want to also be able to influence with truth, energy, or what we know as a truth. And maybe that one simple truth could be caring. So right now, just imagine that you are of that caring frequency. You're going to intend that you are of that caring frequency, that we care about humanity. That's pretty simple. It can be pretty truthful or imagined as truthful, because I've talked to a lot of people who are very disillusioned with humanity right now. But let's just kind of pretend for a moment that we're going to be at that caring frequency. And then imagine from your own heart, going beyond the limits of your mind that you think is possible. Go ahead and send that caring frequency out to billions of people on the earth. Because the blue beings of light shared with me, just like an octopus can kind of send dye into the waters so that it can escape and can't be seen, or when you're dyeing Easter eggs, have you ever put the different color, red, orange, green, blue, purple, into the water, and all you have to do is just put like one drop, and then suddenly that water in that cup for the boiled egg becomes that color. That's what the blue beings of light want you to know right now, that every thought that you have, every intention that you have can color your world. Now, fortunately for us, negative thoughts, negative intentions are like kind of, trying to throw a ball and it just kind of drops in front of you. So fortunately, it doesn't have that big of a reach. but more thoughts such as caring have a much wider reach. It's like that color of caring can spread throughout the world in a much easier way. But if you have enough people on the earth who are thinking negatively, like we're doomed, we're never going to make it, let's just kind of assume that frequency is out there, or violence or corruption or greed, just pick one off the board. That if you have a lot of people who are at that frequency, then yeah, it can influence the whole world. So if the negativity can influence, so can the caring and the kindness and concern for humanity and unity consciousness. So right now during this talk, that's what the blue light beings, as I am voicing their messages, are asking that we send out and influence billions of people in the world with caring kindness. Okay, now in my talk in May, I talked about the Orion Nebula. Now, Orion is a pretty big friggin' deal. Orion's belt and the Orion constellation has some pretty big front runners of planets, and that's Sirius A, Sirius B, which are big, big planets. And in Orion's belt, many of these sacred sites around the world are built in alignment with Orion, with the star constellation of Orion. One being the sacred pyramids in Egypt. When the blue stream came through Xi'an, China, through that pyramid, they also have pyramids aligned with Orion. We've got some consistency here, of which I didn't know 3 years ago. In fact, I didn't really kind of get this until probably sometime in 2021, that also it influences Teotihuacan in Mexico City. And then when the blue beings of light said it's going to be in the Southwest, there's a pyramid in the Southwest, and I'm like, we don't have any pyramids in the United States. What they said is what will be hidden will be revealed. Well, on the Hopi and the Navajo reservations, there are the three mesas, and as they measure them and all the little villages around, they are aligned with Orion's belt. Now, I just want to tell you a little bit more about how significant that is for today of this recording, July 23rd. So July 23rd, Sirius appears on the horizon one time of year. And that one time of year, according to something that I read, is July 23rd. And that the ancient Egyptians and other ancient ones who really followed that star system of Orion know that on that July 23rd, that's when Sirius would rise. So for some reason, the ancients knew the significance of Orion's belt and Sirius A, Sirius B, to include the Dogon tribe. Now, I know you're wondering, what does this have to do with water? But I'm leading in that direction. So the blue beings of light also said water is the great communicator of supreme divine wisdom. Water is a spirit. Water is a soul. Water can engage with you, can talk with you. So what Spirit was saying is, imagine every little molecule of water has a little blue dot in the middle, this really kind of blue, kind of cobalt lapis blue dot. And that it's pretty evenly spread throughout the water. And then what Spirit said is that if you have an intention when you go into the water, so let's say I would like more abundance in my life. I'd like to be more caring. I'd love to have more patience. Any thought that you have, the water moves. So you can kind of follow that little blue dot. The water moves towards you to help enhance, go really even etherically through your body to help enhance, uplift, help you to create whatever it is that you desire. But what the blue beings of light said is, often we just run through the kitchen, get our tap water, take a drink, that we jump into the water, we might surf on the water, surf on the back of the water of Spirit, but we don't often have that conversation with Spirit first. I remember when we had two Sangomas who visited us from South Africa, and one of the kind of treats that one of the Sangomas really wanted to go kayaking. But before he could even get in the kayak, he stood at the water's edge and he talked to the water. Is it okay if I ride on your back? Is it okay? Will you support me? And so that was really very telling to those of us like myself who were very unconscious about water. So the knowledge of water, imagine that the knowledge of water is gathering with intention. Now, I know this, but life, we can get caught up in that third dimensional world and we can forget. Now, what the blue beings of light want us to know this time about water is that water is the source for everything, that you are water. You were created from water. We know when you are an infant in the womb, you're surrounded by water, but the trees and the mountains, everything has that initial source of water. And so when we have a thought, again, let's say caring, going out to billions of people in the world, it communicates through the air, it communicates through the etheric field, it communicates through the water, through the land, and it goes all the way out to influence billions of people. So can you imagine if each day you only took 1 or 2, 5 minutes to sit and imagine that whatever that caring is going out to billions of people. But remember, we are limited in our thinking. So often we don't do that because we don't believe that it's real. But right now, the blue beings, celestial beings, the star beings are saying it is very, very, very real. And we need you to let go of thinking small and hiding your light and thinking that you are not significant. And this isn't just people who, like myself, who've been doing this work for 25 years. You can start tomorrow and have absolutely no training in how to move energy because we were born knowing how to move energy. So I just want to talk about the Dogon tribe. How many of you have heard of the Dogon tribe? Go ahead and put it in the comment section. Hello from the Okanagan, and hello from Illinois, and hello from Fairmont, BC, and Gig Harbor, and Phoenix, and Alberta. So right now, how many? It's Dogon. So I'm going to introduce a book to you that, we've got somebody who said they've actually visited the Dogon tribe. Well, I'm going to be highly envious and jealous because that's on my bucket list. And I'm not sure that I will ever get there because of the state of the world right now, but it's definitely on my bucket list. So I'm going to introduce a set of books to you, and I'm gonna ask that if you feel that your constitution is easily influenced by anything that you read in a book and you take it in as gospel truth and you do not enter in your own discernment, please don't order this book. If you order this book and read this book, the more discerning you are, the more, if you have that pinch of skepticism or even a lot of skepticism. The skepticism is a beautiful energy because it helps filter. It helps you to know what is a truth for you and what is not a truth for you. So I tried to read these books, let's say 20 years ago. I don't know when they were published, but they were kind of making the wave throughout the world. And someone gifted them to me. And I remember attempting to read them, but every time I attempted to read, I couldn't retain the information. And I remember Yvonne asking me one day, wow, you're really, you're reading those books, what are they about? Are you enjoying them? And I said, well, it must be really good because I leave my body every time I try to read the page. And when I get down to the bottom of the page, I don't even remember reading it. So I knew that it was filled with some information that was probably something I needed to read, but also something I wasn't ready to read, if I can put it that way. So let's just see if you have read these books. All right, so The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life Drunvalo McKeeseldeck is the author. So there is volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1, volume 2. So I invite you to read these. This will give you a lot more information about the star system Orion. It'll give you information about water. It'll give you information about the sacred beings, but it'll also give you some really kind of, not sure about that one information as well, because remember, it is one person who is writing this information. How many of you have read this? So the reason why I ask you to be discerning is because a couple of people in my career have borrowed my books and read them, and it was a little bit too much for them. So it is all about Fibonacci. It's all about the golden spiral mean. It's all about definitely about star beings. It's about a lot about Egypt, a lot about Egypt. So if you're very interested in that, okay. Now let's move on to the next. Someone just said, I have them. I haven't not read them yet. So here I go. So as I said, I had 2 people. It took them a while to come back from that. And so I don't lend them out anymore. I feel that if it is your time to read them, the books will come to you. And so anybody who just saw me present them, if you're feeling called, but if you're like, no, if I hear about a ghost story, I get freaked out. If I hear about alien abduction, I get freaked out. Then don't read these books. Okay, until you're ready. Okay, the Dogon tribe in Africa, they have this ancient cave that's probably thousands of years old, and inside this cave has their creation story painted on the cave walls. The creation story, it's so ancient and it's so sacred, this information, that they have a person who sits out and guards this cave, and all their meals are brought to them. They never leave this area around this cave. So they had scientists go, because what they were saying was that they came from the stars. In their creation story, they came from the stars, that these beings, star beings, came down to the earth, and then these star beings dug a hole. They filled this hole with water, and then these beings came out of this ship that they were traveling in the form of dolphins and whales. And they came into the water, and they would come up on and breathe above, and they would share this ancient knowledge that they wanted to help human beings. And so it's a pretty amazing story, because written on the paintings on the walls that they let the scientists see was that they could see that there was another planet with Sirius A and Sirius B of Orion's belt that NASA and astronomers didn't even know existed. They said that doesn't exist. They also had paintings about how, I think it's Sirius A goes around Sirius B or vice versa, which they didn't know that at the time, and then finding out that those paintings and drawings. So they asked them, how did you know this knowledge? And they said, well, the star beings told us. So that's why I'm telling you, expand beyond the limitations of your mind. So I will ask, oh, thank you, whoever posted the name and the author. All right, so the Dogons predicted, not the Dogons, but the ancient star beings predicted, and I get this, it's kind of exciting, that starting in 1990, so they told the scientists, and in this prophecy, starting in 1990, so you think about where you were in 1990, and I know some of you were probably not even born, but what the Dogon said is in 1990, the ascension grid around the entire Earth was finally completed. The ascension grid. So there was a grid that was put into place to help us adapt as we ascend in consciousness. So remember, it's like if you've ever traveled internationally, you've got a blow dryer that's at 110 and you plug it into 220, that blow dryer is going to burn out its electricity. It's just going to burn out. It won't work anymore. So if you have this adaptive grid, ascension grid, it's going to help adapt the frequencies so that humanity here on Earth can take in the information, adjust, and adapt to the information. I will tell you, there are a lot of star beings, and there are a lot of you who, at the human level, are helping to keep this ascension grid very, very strong. What they said was in 1990, we were entering into a potent, I want you to hear this, you can even write it down, 1990, we entered into a potent, high prophetic time. A potent, high prophetic time. So for some of you, you know what prophecy means. Some of you can know that there's information that come through you where you can prophesize, but there's others that maybe aren't quite sure what that word means. So I invite you to go, remember, spark your curiosity, spark your imagination, and go look up more about prophecy. But during this prophetic time, you will be getting high levels of knowledge and wisdom that are prophetic, are understanding, are a knowing about what's coming up next. And I will tell you, no matter how hard it is on the earth, when I tap into that kind of prophetic time, that what I know I'm going to be okay. I know that many more of us are going to be okay than what we can imagine. So that's kind of what prophecy is, where you know the truth even though you haven't experienced it yet. So in the pre-Incan time, there was also discovered of this ancient tribe, pre-Incan tribe, that they also had the similar exact creation story. And that creation story was the star beings came down to earth, they dug a hole, their ship that they were traveling in landed, and then they were able to come out, go into the water, and then they wanted to help humanity on the earth and share this with them. So you have, I can't remember what they call somebody who studies people, anthropology and archaeology. What they have found in just the Mediterranean alone, there's like 26 tribes that have a similar creation story. Now, our creation story could be for some of us that God created Earth in 7 days, or the creation story of Adam and Eve. So that's what I talk about in a creation story. But in these ancient tribes, their creation story talks about beings coming from the stars, from Orion, and coming into the water in the form of dolphins and whales, and then sharing that knowledge. Okay, I'm coming up to the 30-minute mark, but I just want to share a little bit more. So when I was asking the blue beings of light, what is the biggest message that you wish for me to share on your behalf today with everyone that is listening in, plus billions of people in the world? They said, number one, you came from the water. So that's the number one thing. They said, every human came from the water, meaning that you were part of the stars. You were part of the cosmic water that came in. Remember Orion's nebula? You are part of that water. The water that they filled the lakes and streams came from Orion's nebula, according to the blue beings of light. You, as humans, your ancestors made that attempt to come up and out of the water and to live upon the earth. So then they said, everything came from the water. So the trees and the land and the flowers and the animals and the mountains and the birds and the air. So they also said, you are a multi-dimensional being. At your physical level, you look human. At the spiritual level, you are very etheric and you have no form. So what they were saying is the water is the same. At the third dimensional level, it has form. We can touch it, we can bathe in it, we can drink in it, we can cook with it, and it creates rain. But as it's a multidimensional being as well, as it rises, it turns into what? Humidity. It gets kind of absorbed. It can turn into clouds. It can turn into rain or snow. But it can also travel all the way back out to the galaxies, the universe, and the universe comes back to the Earth. So someone just mentioned NASA is not a straight answer. So thank you for mentioning that, because that's that skepticism, that discernment. please, please, please put everything through your discernment filter. Do your homework to include with me. Don't take anything that I am saying as fact. Just kind of sit with it, let go of what doesn't work for you, take in and move forward with what feels in alignment with you. So, as I said, the pre-Incans, they had the same creation story that I mentioned. So what were the other thing? They said we came from water, blah, 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 blah. And then it is, the water is of goddess consciousness. So they really wanted to express that as well, that water is of goddess consciousness. So what we're going to do in this meditation is we're going to meditate with the consciousness. You are going to pretend and imagine that you are water consciousness, because the blue beings of light, that's what they are sharing that we are. So we're going to become that consciousness, and that when you chose, we're going to imagine and pretend and be curious that when your ancestors chose to come up out of the water and to manifest consciousness here on the earth, what was the intention of your ancestors? What was that message that they wished to imprint on the earth? All right, are you ready to step into the meditation? Have your water with you. You can hold the water if you wish, or just have it set next to you, because the consciousness is going to be infusing your water through this talk. Go ahead and close your eyes and turn within. I can already see, as I am looking out towards all of you who are listening live now, those who are watching the conversation, the video later, and those who are just simply sharing that consciousness with us. I can already see this illuminating blue that is starting to radiate, and it's actually coming out of the chest, out of the heart chakra. Talk to and greet the water, the sacred water that is within your body. You know, they say that we're made of 98% water. So just talk to the intelligence of the water that is already you as a part of your body. Ask the water of your physical form to begin to teach you about the mental intelligence and wisdom of sacred water, that you are a willing student. If you wish to be taught by the water that you hold inside of you, and just let the water know. Say hello to your spirit, your higher soul, that higher wisdom that resides in unity consciousness outside of the body. Say hello, and remember, your spirit, your higher self, loves to be playful and imaginative. Your higher self, your wise self, is tapped into all the knowledge in the universe. Let your spirit know that you would like some help with playfulness and curiosity during this meditation, and that you are a willing student to learn more about the sacredness of water that you hold within you. Now, using incredible imagination, incredible curiosity, and playfulness, just like a dolphin or a whale, imagine that you are uh, connected to your ancient ancestors. And let's just pretend that your ancient ancestors, or some of them, came from the water, that are star beings that came from the water. Now, you may be one that may easily go into the water and become a dolphin or become a whale, because that's what we're kind of pretending to do in this meditation. However, there are some of you that can pretend that you're literally kind of swimming with the dolphins and the whale, that you can come up for air and then go back and swim with them, or kind of see them in the water from a distance. There are others of you who have an incredible imagination, can imagine their mermaids and mermen, the mystical water beings on so many levels. You can pretend that those are around you. And then there's going to be some of you that, are definitely land lovers and prefer to sit on the beach. Maybe you can just put your feet into the water and you can feel the frequencies of the whales and the dolphins and the ancient mystical beings of the water. So let's just take a few minutes now as you imagine and play at whatever level is comfortable for you. Now imagine, just like the creation story of the Dogon tribe, where they said these beings came from the Orion constellation. They came down to Earth, they dug a hole, filled it with water, and then they came into the water. And so imagine that you are a being in the water or touching the water of a very high frequency of intelligence. So let's move outside the limitations of what you think is possible for yourself, and let's just play with, what if I am? What if I am truly a highly evolved, intelligent being here on the earth? What would that feel like? What if my ancestors truly came from the stars and I share their genetics in my DNA? I'd like to imagine and experience what that star being ancestral DNA might feel like in my own body. Now imagine, not only can you experience and really intimately feel the water molecules within your own body, but below your feet and your grounding, because as you're tapping into this water, you should and experience feeling more grounded. But I also want you to feel and tap into your connection to the groundwater. We'll talk about groundwater deep in the earth, and feel into sacred water. So if you're under the water, you're still with the whales and dolphins, but you're going to feel deeply, deeply under the sea, under the ocean, under the lakes, rivers, streams, connecting with the groundwater that's deep in the earth. Beautiful. Now, allow your higher consciousness, your higher self, you're still in the water, you're still part of that consciousness of the dolphin, whales, and mermaids and water, whether you're in it or on the beach. Now, imagine that your higher self can tap into those multidimensionals of water in the stars and in the cosmos, and see if you can sense and feel uh, that celestial level of water out in outer space. Beautiful, beautiful. In that connected state, now imagine infusing your container of water with these multi dimensions of intelligence. And then imagine as you are infusing that container of water, if you don't have a container of water, that's okay too. Imagine this consciousness, multi dimensional consciousness of water is infusing throughout billions of people on the earth and to consciousness of the trees, the birds, plants, the animals, the rocks, the mountains, and everything else I forgot to mention that you might think of. Beautiful. And now pretend and imagine that you are coming up out of the water to bring this high intelligent wisdom and sacred grace onto the earth to help uplift and support humanity. As you were kind of rising up out of the water or taking your feet out of the water, what was it that your ancient ancestors, what was that message? What was your purpose? What was the calling that you wanted to imprint upon the earth for the thousands of years that would be coming up in the future before you were even born? What is that message you were bringing to the earth that your ancestors intended? And then send that message out again to our entire earth and to our entire universe if you wish to do that as well. right now, let's start to kind of bring you back. Remaining in a highly expanded state does not serve you in this third dimensional realm, because you need to remember to eat lunch and dinner, and you need to remember to go pick up the kids from soccer camp, and you need to, so all of those third dimensional things you want to be more present for. So right now, thank the intelligence of the water that is you within your own body. Thank the underground water, the groundwater, earthly water, for its wisdom for you today. Thank the cosmic water, celestial water from the stars for its wisdom that it shared with you today. And then just slowly bring yourself back into this present moment, stating the date that you're actually watching this recording, whether it's live today or another day, and then remind yourself of how old you are, remind yourself of where you live. Just stating those things will really help you to kind of sky back down into this present moment. For a moment, think how you have changed from 15 minutes ago. Say, how am I different than I was 15 minutes ago? And I'm very aware some of you might not feel different at all, but I'm also very aware of that percentage of not knowing that you've been changed is very small. What I do know after teaching this for a long time, most of you will have had some level of experience. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Now, the water that you have, you can do anything with that water that you wish. I only ask that you be spiritually, let your spirit guide you. If you are to drink that water, then drink the water. If you are meant to take it outside, take it outside. If you are meant to share it with a friend, put it in little bottles and share it with others, whatever you are called to do, that's what you're going to do with that water. So you are very, very welcome. I'm having people pop on already and say that they had a great experience. So I'd love for you to share that, and you can continue to share even after I've gone off of this recording. So just want to share a little bit about what's coming up in preparation, what I've been doing in preparation for 2023. It has still not been totally revealed to me exactly where it is. I keep being told in the southwest of the United States, this big blue surge will be coming through. It is a larger, it's more refined, meaning it's like it's so microscopic that it can just filter through to everything. So that will be coming through. I have not been given the date yet either. I thought it would be around November 19th, as the other two were. I keep getting something about the end of October. So until it comes through me strongly, I don't mention it. I like to feel it in my bones before I share it with anybody else. And again, it is my truth, not your truth. So be discerning, be skeptical. Now, I did find that the Hopi, the ancient wisdom, the blue kachina. So look all of this stuff up, get your own information, do the deep dive, drill down, go down the rabbit hole and see what you can find. Please share it with me. Please share it on this page. But there are 3 mesas and there are villages along, and it is said, I was able to find this very easily on the World Wide Web about it being aligned with Orion. However, I'm being strongly pulled towards Monument Valley. So Monument Valley is also in Arizona. It's just over the Utah border. I'm having dreams about Monument Valley. I'm having this pull almost like 24 hours a day. I can't stop. It's like I'm having to say, stop it. I need you to stop it, because I need to function. I need to get dressed in the morning, because I just feel this, I'm being pulled to that area in a very strong way. If any of you have ever been to Monument Valley, share it here on the Blue Light Movement page, share it in your comments on YouTube, and share with me kind of what you felt and what you experienced in the area. Most recently, I was reading about the pyramids in the Grand Canyon and how there were hieroglyphics and there were Egyptian, artifacts, but I drilled down, and just like the person who said, NASA doesn't know everything, I drilled down and I found that it was false information that took off. But they said even now they have to put a lot of security around this particular area called, I think it's Mount Isis is the name of it. So anyway, kind of check into that information. But then I was like, oh, well, they taught us UFOs were false too. And then suddenly they're really opening up all their files that said they lied to us for all these years. So I don't know what to believe, but I go into meditation and I be discerning. So in having said that, I started watching Skinwalker Ranch, which I have a lot of people horse laugh me out of the room whenever I say that, but I love that show. And again, it has its limitations. It can be overly scientific, not very well balanced, but I trust in spirit. So I trust spirit will guide them in the right way. But I am going to Utah to the Phenomicon conference in the September. I think it's 9th, 10th, and 11th, 12th. I'm going to be staying in Airbnb right there next to the canyon, next to Skinwalker Ranch. I did not know that it was near Skinwalker Ranch when my 80-year-old mother and I are going together, that we discovered that we were literally going to be near some world famous petroglyphs that talk about portals and spirals and all of that literally we're going to be able to walk out our door a half a mile. We're going to be at the base of those. So we're going to be dreaming in that area. And then we're going to be listening to some great speakers. So this area is supposed to be one of the most highly studied areas it's a hotbed for UFO sightings, and paranormal experiences. Now, I've been a land healer for 25 years. I've had a lot of experiences. I've actually seen a skinwalker, but that was a good 16 years ago. So I do plan on writing about my experience. But it's exciting. And then my mother and I are going to rent a car and we're going to go to Monument Valley because it's so consumed me that if I don't go, it would just not be good. So I just want to let you know that's the big news that I had about September, because I always like to visit the place where the blue surge is going to come through. I visited Xi'an, China. I visited Teotihuacan in Mexico City. And I am also going to visit the Four Corners area in the southwest of the United States. And I can feel that energy is just pulsing. It's just right. There's this type of return or activation of prophecy, ancient prophecy. So you can read the prophecy, the Hopi prophecy of the blue Kachina, read all about it. It is so friggin' exciting. So anyway, by the time we get to October or November of 2023, we are all going to be blue light movement, crazy excited fools. So I'm super excited. And I do plan on, if I can figure out how to do it and get brave enough to do it, I will be doing some YouTube videos while I'm there to share with you all. So I'm going to take you on that journey with me. All right, everyone, that is our blue light movement talk for today. Please, please, please share with me what your experience was and the message that you brought through from the ancient ones and your ancient ancestors, so that we can all benefit from the knowledge that your ancient ancestors and you were supposed to bring through to the earth at this time of great expansive consciousness and awakening. All right, everyone, take care. And wow, I'm finishing early. That's like a minor miracle. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday and weekend. And we'll chat to you again next month. And remember, on Thursdays, every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. on Intuitive Mind, I also do my weekly talks. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.